The SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler recently released her top priorities for the SBA administration, and the number one priority, first on the list, was prioritizing US manufacturing. It goes on to say that they want to rebuild American supply chains and create more US manufacturing jobs. Seeing that 99% of manufacturing companies in the United States are considered small businesses, that means that the SBA is counting on you to help them in their mission. And you're gonna need some capital. Hey, I'm Ray Drew, an actual SBA lender, and in this video, I'm gonna share how to use the existing SBA programs to finance everything that goes in with building a manufacturing facility for your business. Whether you want to vertically integrate, modernize your existing plant, or start from scratch, I have you covered. And stick around to the end because there are two major changes in the program that are being considered that I think will be absolute game changers for small business owners looking to take advantage of the blue collar boom. Restructuring the global supply chain and creating competitive manufacturing facilities in the United States sounds expensive. Luckily, there's plenty of capital at your disposal, and I'm gonna go one by one on some of the ways that you can utilize the SBA loan programs to invest in onshore manufacturing. First up, let's cover vertical integration. Let's say you have a fencing company. Perhaps you want to build a steel fabrication facility. And you can even go a step further and build a facility that recycles raw materials into aluminum sheets and vertically integrate all the way up the chain. If you purchase any sort of inventory for your business, think about what it would take to bring that manufacturing in-house and whether that makes sense financially. Then the question becomes how to finance it. And that's where the SBA loan comes in. The SBA 7A loan program would be able to finance up to 100% of a project like this. The cost to lease or buy a new warehouse, the equipment, machinery, raw materials, working capital to hire some employees, maybe even some marketing budget to offer your services to other businesses in the area. Now, depending on whether real estate is involved, this type of project can be financed anywhere from 10 to 25 years at a rate of around 9 or 10% based on where rates sit today. Now, there is one catch. The max amount of SBA 7A financing that your business can have at any one point in time is $5 million. Now, if your project's much bigger than that, a 504 loan may be used. 504s will finance real estate and heavy machinery, but not the inventory and the working capital. But you can go a lot bigger. A 12 million project, for example, would be totally doable, and often you can even go beyond that. Now, this program requires 10% down. However, you'd be left with a lower fixed interest rate, probably somewhere in the 7s. All right, now let's move on to one of my favorite topics, robots. Let's face it, even with tariffs, even with taxes, it's hard to compete with some of these Asian and Central South American countries because of labor. We don't have enough skilled labor in this country, and it's more expensive. But this is happening at the perfect time because, I can't believe I'm saying this, but AI-powered humanoid robots may be a solution, but they can be expensive. Robots aside, investing in modern machinery can drive efficiencies in your existing manufacturing company and increase your capacity without having to hire more employees. Modernizing, replacing equipment, these capital expenditures can all be financed with either of the two main SBA loan programs. Okay, number 3, startups. If you don't currently own a business, but you're fired up about the administration's efforts towards manufacturing and you want to get in the game, you've got two options. You can start a business or you can buy a business. Let's start by discussing startups. Starting a business from scratch is very difficult and financing is rather limited, but it is possible if you can check the right boxes. Let's go through a couple of those things that SBA lenders will be looking for a total startup business loan request. Number 1 is direct experience. Lenders want to see that you've managed in the manufacturing space and you know the industry. And you also need to understand business. Number 2 is cash. Most lenders want to see a larger down payment for a startup, anywhere from 10 to 25%. For a true startup, I personally want to see 15%. Not only do you need that cash, but you also need a little something on the side. We call this post-close liquidity. At least another, let's say 10% sitting in the bank for a rainy day. Number 3 would be collateral. Luckily, these are asset-heavy businesses, which the assets will be taken as collateral. But beyond the business collateral, do you own any real estate with equity that can be pledged towards the loan? Not as necessary as the cash and experience, but a lot of lenders will be looking for it. As well as number 4, outside income. If you have another source of income, maybe a spouse with a W-2 job perhaps, that also goes a long way with the lender. Now, if you want to avoid the trials and tribulations of starting a business from scratch and you want more financing options, buying an existing, already profitable manufacturing business is the move. That brings us to number 4, business acquisitions. Finding the deal will be the challenge here, but if you do, financing becomes so much easier. Lenders will consider transferable experience, you don't need direct. You probably only need 5 to 10% cash down, and you're cash flowing day one. Acquisitions can also be an interesting play for existing business owners too, by the way, i.e. buying a competitor or even vertically integrating through acquisition. Startups and acquisitions are probably going to be 7A loans because of the 7A's ability to finance goodwill and working capital, whereas the 504 does not. Last but not least, number 5, debt refinance. Before you embark on this journey to save US manufacturing, it might be a good idea to clean up that balance sheet and stretch out those monthly payments to maximize your cash flow. In fact, you can pair that debt refinance with the expansion. One of the cool things about the 7A loan in particular is that it's so malleable. You could even get an SBA loan right now to bulk order inventory and raw materials to get a discount from your supplier. So at the beginning of this video, I teased a couple big changes that are being discussed at the SBA. I'm going to share those now. Number 1 is, how do they incentivize more companies to manufacture more in the US? In the past, the SBA has used larger guarantees, which gets lenders lending, and lower SBA fees, which gets borrowers borrowing, to incentivize lending in certain areas. I think we can see 90% guarantees. Today, we get 90% guarantees for 7A loans where the business is growing exports. I think that could shift into a policy that is more in line with their commitment towards US manufacturing. And so why is that 90% guarantee important? Well, because it's really hard for me to say no to a loan when the government is guaranteeing 90 cents on my dollar. Lending will go bonkers in this space if that happens. And number 2, raising the maximum 7A loan from $5 million to $7 or $8 or even $10 million to adjust for inflation, because it's been $5 million since 2010. And I think there's a really good chance that this will happen, but I'm also hearing whispers that it will only be increased for manufacturing companies. Or if they do increase it for everyone, they'll increase it even higher for manufacturing. And then we could finance an entire army of humanoid robots. Subscribe to this channel so that when more changes do roll out, and they are coming, you can be in the loop. So there you have it. If you found that video helpful and you want more expert advice from an actual SBA lender, then I would invite you to hit that subscribe button because I've got plenty more where that came from.